Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Vegan Proteins Muscles by Brussels Radio. My name is Danny.
And I'm 𝐃𝐨𝐽.
And this is episode 107. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Thanks so much for tuning in. We are here with another episode for you today. What have you been up to, 𝐃𝐨𝐽?
That's a really good question. Praying to the snow gods, and the snow will not... Well, it snowed and then...
snow.
Yeah, but then it started raining.
I know. It feels like spring outside today. It's kind of freaky.
I asked Alexa this morning, because I finally got one of those gadgets in our house, what the weather was going to be like this weekend. It's going to be brick, which means...
What does that mean? What is brick?
Really?
What does brick weather mean?
Cold, frigid.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never heard that before. Grew up in New England. I think you just made it up.
I think I did. Oh, maybe. I wish I could say that I made that up. But yeah, I am also planning for classes for the cruise. Admittedly, I don't stretch as much as I should, but I'm teaching stretching class, so I figured I might as well be a little bit more pliable myself before I teach a class of mobility on the cruise.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I'm putting together my classes for the cruise. I'm gearing up to start our next fat loss challenge, which is going to start on February 20th. It might have already started by the time this comes out, but if you want in and it's not the 20th yet, jump on it. That should be a lot of fun. What else? Oh, I'm going to Vegas for my birthday, and I'm so pumped because it's not a work trip, and I haven't done a not work trip in a very long time, like many years.
With your mom.
With my mom. With my mama.
And you got many things booked already.
Yes, I'm very excited. I don't get excited very easily, guys. I'm not like an easily excitable person, but I'm pretty pumped about this. I mean, I'll still be working while I'm there because I have a problem, which actually we're going to talk about today. But I'm going to, give myself a reasonable cutoff time for work, and then we're going to explore the town.
There you go. And I'm giving 2023 a redo. I started the year off and I'm like, everything is going to be wonderful. And then it did not start off that way for me.
Yeah.
And I just could not be bothered to just keep my crap together when it came to my eating habits. And I'm like, I love this stuff. I know how to sort this out. In the last couple of days, I just journaled. I was like, you know what? I'm getting my act together. I'm going to take a little bit of care of myself. It's still good for me to be eating plenty and eating well. It's just a matter of how I feel about how I'm eating. And honestly, I could pull it back a little bit. So I'm going to redo 2023 in February.
It's a good idea. My cut is still going well, but I will be still in the middle of that cut while we go to Vegas. So it's almost like I have to get a little bit ahead because I assume that's going to set me back a little bit because I do not plan on nailing it while I'm there. I'll still be mindful, of course, but that's not my intention to nail it.
And I'm going to be Mr. Mom over here with Daisy and Desmond.
No. I'm a little nervous about it.
Don't worry. If the house is on fire, we won't even be here for it. It's okay.
Oh, God. My goodness. So what are we talking about today?
Well, you already gave everyone a hint. We're talking about basically the dangers of neglecting downtime, what it means to never check out, and what consequences there are when you are that type of person and you get in your own way, essentially.
Mm-hmm. So are you just going to teach me for 40 minutes? Teach me your wisdom?
I'm going to go ahead and say that the two of us enable each other in different ways, and it's a gray area here. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, this is an interesting topic. I usually come to these podcasts with pages of notes of stuff I want to talk about and my sort of tips and tricks and things like that, the way we can break down making positive changes. But I have not a single written word here. This is all going to come off the top of my head and from my heart. And I think that it is a problem that a lot of people have, right? First of all, I feel like people can be divided into two camps. And we've talked about this before. There's people who are pushers who just do not stop. And then there's people who do not push themselves enough, I guess. But, I always talk about these two camps. There is a third camp, this third mythical camp of people that push themselves just enough and also know when to back off and give themselves some rest. These are the people who have found this elusive thing called balance. And I think we always leave those folks out of these conversations. screw those people. They got it all figured out. No, I'm just kidding. But, you know, I definitely find that myself and many of my clients, most, I would say, fall in to the category of people who are just pushing too hard all the time, and seeing it in them helps me to recognize the problems with this mindset in myself, actually, because I see them and I care about them and I think, oh, this is not good. Oh, honey, you need a minute. Like, you need a break. The answer is not push harder. And I see it and I say it, and then I think, oh, shit, that's me. I'm the one I should be saying that to.
Yeah, this is opening up so many wonderful thoughts that I also struggle to process on how exactly and what exactly downtime should look and feel like, which in and of itself is a problem. It's like a problem inside of a problem inside of a problem. Because here I am being like, okay, I'm going to schedule in downtime and then I'm going to plan my downtime. Or worse, I'm not going to plan my downtime and then it doesn't happen.
The downtime has to be perfect or it doesn't count.
I got to check it off somewhere. I got to do something. And it's like, I was talking about this in a video that'll be dropping at some point soon, because you were like, hey, let's, as a team, talk about self-care with one of our upcoming episodes on YouTube. Are they called episodes? I don't even know what is editing anything anymore. Wow. This world is confusing.
Hello, fellow kids.
I'm dating myself yet again. But anyways, yeah, and it's like, does everything, and especially as a health and fitness coach, does everything have to be about self-improvement and personal growth and checked off? Even when I look at my hobby right now that I took purely for enjoyment and entertainment purposes, I want to learn how to sing. It's like I'm saying to myself, if I don't have a chart somewhere where I can quantify how many minutes I spent practicing, I'm not going to do the thing. And how good am I going to get at it? And am I going to be skillful and this and that? And it's like, slow down. Try to just enjoy something for yourself for a minute without trying to be driven to achieve. You know?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think it's actually a problem of our culture. And, you know, I assume if I actually studied this, hustle culture probably goes back decades and decades. But something happened in the last like 10 or 15 years where hustle culture, that push, grind yourself into dust, sleep is for the weak, that sort of mentality became very obvious to me in the last 10 years or so. And I've certainly noticed around me the increase of this sort of mindset. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of things I appreciate about this mindset because I am the pusher. My mom used to say this when I was a kid, and I didn't understand what the hell she was talking about at the time. She would be like, Danny, you have always burned the candle at both ends. You always have had a million things going on at once. And I remember being like, I don't know what you're talking about. I just like do school and band and chorus and have a job. Like, it seems like all pretty normal stuff. Now I'm looking back and I'm like, oh, that was the time, actually, that I was supposed to be just like chilling and being a kid. But that, you know, that feeling of always needing to be productive, it's still very much alive and well, to the point that you feel like anytime you're not being productive in some way, it's like comes with a side of guilt or a side of shame about how you're quote unquote wasting your time. And how is that good? Like, how is that good for people?
Right? I love what I do. I love who I am. And just because things aren't working out right now and I'm working towards finding a way to have some more downtime doesn't mean that I have to look at what I'm doing right now and be like, if I feel wrong, I feel off because I don't have enough downtime. Like, that in of itself is a confusing place to be, I think, when you're trying to change without thinking like, I need to grow or I need to be better, you know?
To me, you're the person who is always about the downtime. Like, you're the one who's always like, you need to check out. We need to check out. So I'm curious to hear more about that.
Right. Just because I say it doesn't mean that I do it. How many times have you looked at me and been like, hey, 𝐬𝐿𝐵𝐿, are you present? Are you even here right now? You know what I mean? Like, so there's something to be said for that, I think. There's something to be said about intention versus action. Like, I definitely feel like I do impress upon us like that. And I'm like, yo, like we need to check out, we need to do it. And there are times where I do feel like I want to be that person. It doesn't mean that I'm actually that person when we're quote unquote checking out. But I think this is the part where you and I can sort of enable each other, because there are times when I am truly not interested in talking about anything that I normally am a check the box kind of person on. Like, did I do my job today? Did I train today? This and that. Like, I just want to go out and enjoy. And then you're like, hey, about that work project. I'm like, Danny, we're on a dinner date, you know?
Yeah, well, I love work. So work never feels like work to me. I love it. So for me to bring up a project that I'm excited about at dinner, like that doesn't feel weird to me or like out of bounds at all, because I'm pumped about it. And if I didn't work with you, it wouldn't be even a little bit weird. It would just be me talking to my husband about a project at work I'm really excited about, you know? But I'm not just talking about work at all. I'm talking about the people who absolutely need to spend every free minute of their life training or meal prepping or getting their steps in or drinking their water or taking a class on how they can be better about this or that or the other. And, oh, you found a new hobby? Well, why don't we find a way to monetize that hobby so it can actually be worth something? It's like if people don't feel like they're being productive, then they feel like they are just wasting time. And I don't think it used to be like that. Like, I just don't think that the world used to operate like that. I think people used to have downtime just built into their day by the way like society was set up. Like, people came home from work and like hung out with their families, and that was just what you did, you know? Like, I don't know. It's something that I think about a lot. And I think that a lot of people are having a hard time with trying to find a way to carve out that time for themselves without feeling guilty about it. And they don't see the value in it. That's the most important part. That's kind of the key of this podcast, is that they don't even see the value in having some real, true downtime. So I want to talk about that. What is the value of having downtime?
Well, for one, you get a chance to realize just how tired you actually are and just how much you are burning the candle at both ends. It's like a deload, right? You could keep training, and you think you're okay. You think you're aware of how your body's feeling because, I'm in touch with my feelings and I'm tracking everything. Oh yeah? Try pulling it back 20% for a whole week and you tell me how you feel. Your body will immediately tell you what is going on. And it's the same thing when you take some downtime. You're like, this is how tired I actually am. It's like the first day of vacation and all of a sudden you like sleep the whole day. Mm. One, obvious signal that you needed vacation. Two, you're aware of just how tired you actually were and how much more time you actually need to be spending having some downtime. For example, those are some of the things that I think about. But to your point, I think, if I'm reading you right here, it's healthy. It's healthy to take that time for yourself, to not even have to just be tired or reflect on where you've been at, like to just literally enjoy life for what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I actually would go a step further than that I don't even just think it's healthy. I think it's critical to have some downtime for yourself. And I very much understand the hypocrisy of me being the one saying this, because guys, I know sometimes on this podcast, it sounds like we got it all figured out. And there are certain areas where I feel like we like mostly have it figured out, but there are some areas that I still struggle with, that 𝐾𝐿 still struggles with. And for me, this is a big one, is like, I understand how to pull back on my diet and my training so that I'm not going to get injured, or I'm not going to, spiral in the other direction of like binge eating or something. That to me is old hat. That's what I can help you guys with the most, and the mindset around that. But the overall mindset of kind of like you said, like deloading, but like on life, like, that is, as somebody who basically has felt like I have a fire under my feet my whole life, that I have to kind of just keep moving, do not stop moving at all. An object in motion. I have literally said this to myself, like, an object in motion stays in motion, as like a way to like keep myself going. It's not good. Like, it's not a good thing. So what do you think would be a good first step for somebody to kind of take that step back?
One, committing to some sort of time and place that has nothing to do with any sort of agenda or anything like that whatsoever, and literally forgetting about everything around you. You don't have to talk about where you've been at. You don't have to be afraid of what you're leaving behind. I'm being a little vague here. Let me be a little more direct. Let's use the vacation analogy. You take 48 hours. The first 12 to 24 hours, you're probably going to like just fall asleep on a couch. The other 24 hours, you're going to probably be afraid of what you let go of that you're getting back to. Because, okay, Monday through Friday, right? You are this wheel in motion. You're never stopping. The wheels are spinning like crazy, right? Now you have Saturday and Sunday. Let's try a Monday through Sunday example. Maybe I'll be a little more clear here. Saturday and Sunday, your head hits the pillow, like you're passed out whether you like it or not, or you're sitting up on a couch, and when you're not sleeping, you're awake and you're like, damn it, if I check out, I'm not going to be ready for Monday. That right there, that's the picture I am trying to paint. That right there, that is what you need to find a way to walk away from. Because the truth is, and this is for y'all, when you walk away from that kind of mindset, on the other side, you have creativity, you have a chance to rest, you have a chance to enjoy, and guess what? Everything else that you've been doing doesn't get undone just because you checked out and you took some downtime. That's how I feel. That's what I strive for.
My heart rate has quickened since you began talking because I'm like, oh my God, that sounds so hard. But I hear you, and I do hear what you're saying, and the fact that even just hearing that creates some sort of physical response in me, like, that's sign enough. Like, I get it. I understand that this is a problem and that it's something that I need to work on. And I understand that it's also something that I help other people work on, and the ironies in that and the layers and blah, blah, blah. But when I have a client who is doing the same thing, they are just balls to the wall all the time. The thought of them sitting down and sort of doing nothing, or taking a rest day, or having a day where I literally say, like, I need you to sit on the couch and I need you to like eat snacks for a day. Like, you got to just do that. Okay. And their fear response to it is always very telling as well. And I can see myself in that. And that's one of the things I can see myself in a lot of my clients, right? And a lot of the struggles that they have had in the past, or that I have had in the past, blah, blah, blah. But it almost always comes with this anxiety, right? This anxiety that if they stop, the world is going to fall apart, which I have thoughts about. And it also comes with this discomfort of sitting with nothing to do. Like, just sitting there with nothing to do. What do? You're just alone with your thoughts, more or less. And if you are a person that struggles with anxiety or any number of like not awesome thought patterns, there almost is nothing scarier than just sitting alone with your thoughts sometimes. So I think a lot of people are just in perpetual motion to escape being alone with their thoughts. And like, that in and of itself is really, really telling of why it's important to do that. And it's going to suck, and it's going to be uncomfortable, and you're going to be confronted with thoughts like that you don't want to have right now. You don't want to be dealing with them right now, but they're not going to go away until you deal with them.
I got one better for you. You don't even got to deal with them. You can just be with yourself. You're your own best company.
I don't mean in that minute. I mean, like, you have to deal with them eventually.
Maybe if I can try to... Okay, so are you saying that is the fear of just sitting down doing nothing?
I think for a lot of people it is. I know for myself it can be sometimes. I don't even think about that consciously until it's happening, and I'm like, ugh. well, these thoughts suck. What's going on Instagram? Pick up my phone, start scrolling. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we do. And we find a way, and that's a whole separate topic about how we just pick up our phones to have something to do. So we take this precious quote unquote downtime and we might as well just wipe our butts with it when we're scrolling on our phone, right? Because it's just filling your brain and your head with all of this other extraneous noise. But I agree with you that when you don't take any downtime, like you're almost constantly on the verge of burnout. And knock on wood, I won't knock on it because our microphone's on it. And I don't want to make a big noise. But, you know, I have also had clients go through like burnout, like career burnout or fitness burnout. And it's pretty ugly. Like, it's pretty rough. Like, it's just like a deload, actually. You brought that up, and it's a really, really great analogy. If you don't take a deload, you're going to get hurt. Like, if you don't slow down, your body's going to make you dead stop. You know? And it's sort of like that, but across your entire life. If you don't slow down, one day you're just, for whatever reason, just not going to be able to put one foot in front of the other. And you are going to have to stop.
Or worse, you're going to keep doing it and feel like crap the entire time.
Yeah, but even then, just until you can't. Like, I've had clients do that for months, get to that point where they just hate what they're doing. Whether it's with fitness or at their jobs or whatever, and then just like have to take a month's leave from work because they just cannot anymore. And I don't think they're being dramatic or anything about it. It's pretty intense, and I often wonder, like, could a lot of this have been rectified by just pacing oneself appropriately earlier in the game and giving yourself some grace to just like sometimes just putter around the house, you know?
Yeah, I do, actually. It's pretty real stuff. Not to be taken lightly. And the helper in me wants to be like, all right, so what are the tips? But I almost think that that's counterproductive to what we're trying to talk about.
Let me give you now that we've talked about this, let me give you your checklist to take home. Make a chart, put it on the wall, cross it off every day. See, like, but that's what my nature wants to do. And I do think that for certain goals, it's what you have to do for certain goals. Like, you're not going to reach certain goals without a plan and without a push, without a drive to get there. But if you are just constantly fueled by this, like, gotta move sort of feeling in you, gotta keep progressing, gotta keep doing better in like every area of your life, maybe try to analyze that, because I'm telling you from experience, it may seem like a flex, right? It may seem like something to brag about, and I have absolutely done this in the past. Like, haha, you weaklings that need to take days off, like, watch me go. I'm a machine. I said it to 𝐬𝐻𝐾𝐭 last night. I'm a machine. Because that's what it feels like sometimes. I feel like I'm a machine. That's not necessarily a good thing, to feel like you are, like, strapped to a treadmill and you just cannot stop moving. That's not good. You know? And if you feel like that, analyze where it's coming from. Like, are you afraid of failing? Is there some imaginary person in your head that you're trying to make happy? Are you just constantly running away from sitting there with your own thoughts? Like, what is fueling this? What is going to be enough? When is enough going to be enough for you?
Or you can revel in the fact that if nothing is ever enough for you, and why shouldn't you get the most out of life? At the very least, create scenarios, set the stage for you to actually be able to not even analyze, just like put yourself in the right kind of environments, you know? For you, I know it's driving and continuing to drive in a car, for example, and putting the radio on.
Oh, that's one of my things. Actually, believe it or not, this self-care video that you're talking about, I'm sure that you put very practical things in your self-care section of the video, but mine are all going to be wacky, weird-ass things that I do that don't look like self-care, but that for me totally are, because it just wouldn't be me unless I put something totally weird into an otherwise normal video.
So you ain't so bad. It's just a matter of doing those things, I guess. And They don't even have to be that specific. Again, I keep going back to the spend and do nothing Sunday. They call it a staycation as opposed to a vacation. It doesn't have to be this big elaborate thing that you're not ready for any number of reasons, right? For me, it's like playing a board game at night or going to anywhere. It doesn't even have to be a restaurant. I'll just sit down at a coffee house by myself with a newspaper or a coloring book, and I've done it. And it is like the most liberating feeling in the entire world. I can't tell you how happy it makes me. I don't even care. I could be anywhere. I could be on the sidewalk. I could be sitting down on a porch. It doesn't have to be something that costs time or money. It just needs to be
cost time. It has to cost time. By its very nature, it has to cost time.
And this is where I say, in one sense, it might cost time, but in another sense, it frees up time.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. Like, I can practically hear some people in our audience scoffing right now, like, huh, easy for you to say. Like, I have this job, and I have these kids with these crazy after-school programs, schedules, and blah, 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 blah. And I hear you, because our schedule is also crazy. Like, it's crazy. But if you don't take some downtime, then you're going to end up spending more time just kind of beating your head against the wall somewhere else. Basically, when you have that downtime, you end up being more efficient with other time. So even though it can feel like a waste of time, ultimately it can kind of get you some more time later.
And even if it takes away time, at least the other things that you're doing, you'll be doing more efficiently, and you'll be enjoying the things you're doing more. Hey listeners, we hope you've been enjoying this episode, and we appreciate your love of all things vegan fitness. For those of you who want even more support on your vegan fitness journey, check out our Muscles by Brussels community and become a member. By joining the team, you are one of our exclusive VIPs. As a member, you'll find over 200 macro-friendly, high-protein recipes that can meet any of your meal planning needs. You'll also receive training programs that update monthly. This training has progressive overload built into it, so you can be sure if you're following the program, you are making progress. All of this and more is located inside our Vegan Proteins members-only app. As a Muscles by Brussels member, you'll unlock bonus courses, challenges, and more every month. You'll also be invited to our live Zoom video calls, which happen 2 times a month, and are absolute gold to those who show up. And if you can't make the calls, don't worry, you have the opportunity to email us whenever you want. You'll receive a video response to all of your questions from one of the coaches here at Vegan Proteins every time you message us. Members also receive 40% off many of our other services. And of course, our private community of like-minded individuals is like no other. Best of all, you can try this membership out for a full month at no cost to you with this special offer for our listeners only, because we appreciate and want to fully support you. Use the link in our show notes to sign up for your free trial today. We hope to see you on our next live coaching call.
So anyway, I hope that this episode, I know it was a little different than our other episodes, but I hope that it was interesting to you guys. I hope that maybe it like piqued some curiosity about different things, and also helps you realize, like, I don't care whose podcast you're listening to. I don't care how popular the podcast is or how long so-and-so has been in the game. Like, there is some shit that they struggle with too. I promise you that. And they just, might not be recording podcast episodes about it, but maybe they are, and good for them, because it's not an easy thing to do. But, if you're somebody that struggles with like a borderline compulsive productivity, you're not alone. There's a lot of us out there, and it's okay to, cut each other a little bit of slack when it makes the most sense to do so. Look out for one another. It's not always good to be rooting someone on for crushing it in every area of their life, because underneath that, there is probably some pain that you are just not privy to. All right, moving on to our question and answer segment. 𝐃𝐨𝐧'𝐭, this one is for you. What type of recovery/mobility work do you do?
Mobility is an easy one. For me, dynamic stretching before I train, quick 2 to 10 count holds tops. And then static stretching after I train, which is 2 to 5 minute holds. That's my mobility work. I know you can get a lot more advanced than that, but for my purposes, it's more than enough. I'm sure I could do more, but as it is, I struggle to get that much in with dynamic and static stretching. But I always come back to it because it makes me feel good. And for recovery things, let's see. I've gotten into a whole new skill for me. I've always been able to fall asleep on the drop of a dime, whether it's willfully or just because, but now I actually do it in a calculated way. I intentionally take day naps. And I think it's just done wonders for my recovery, in all honesty. Even if I don't feel like I need it, I do it anyway, and my recovery time just improves. Other things that I do for recovery, well, I don't know if this makes sense, but I like to reset and also manage my parasympathetic nervous system, to calm my nerves down, in essence, by doing breath work where I breathe out more than I breathe in, and all kinds of exercises like that you can do. So in my opinion, it helps me recover my nervous system from the beating that it takes by all the crap that I do to myself all day long, because I'm focused on so many different things. And this one's for you, Danny. What's considered a modest cut in calories? What's too much?
That's a great question, actually. So I assume like a cut in calories to put yourself in a deficit. So generally speaking, I usually recommend a deficit of 200 to 500 calories per day. So let's say someone's maintenance is 2,000 calories. That would be anywhere from 1,500 to 1,800 calories. So, there are some exceptions to this rule. One, if you're very experienced with dieting and it doesn't bother you, it doesn't sort of trigger you to binge eat, you can go a little bigger than that. You can go, 600 to 800 calories. The deficit I'm in right now is about 750 calories a day. 5 days a week, because the 2 days a week are refeeds. So those 5 days for me feel very easy. For someone else, that might be too much and cause them to overeat on the weekends, thus negating their caloric deficit. So very experienced people can go a little bigger with their deficit. On the flip side, very lean people, so people who are already starting quite lean, which you might say, like, why are you cutting anyway? But it happens. The leaner someone is, I think the smaller the deficit should be, or the more frequent the refeeds should be. And then on the other side of that, people who are much larger, who have a lot of weight that they're trying to lose, they can usually go with a bigger caloric deficit. So let's say if somebody is 350 pounds, as an example, their maintenance calories are probably somewhere above 4,000. So that you could easily cut 1,000 calories from that, have the person eating 3,000 calories a day and losing a significant amount of weight. Some people would say you can even go bigger than that, but you always have to, it's kind of a very individualized situation where you have to know the person. Like somebody who's 350 pounds could have a 2,000 calorie deficit, eating 2,000 calories per day and lose a tremendous amount of weight, but that might put them in a place where they feel so hungry or deprived that they binge eat or they just give up on dieting altogether. So while 2,000 calories is enough to sustain most people, like you're not going to become nutrient deficient if you're eating intelligently in that situation, it could trigger someone to binge eat. So, but as a general, just like blanket piece of advice that I would give to anybody, 200 to 500 calories is a fine place to start. Of course, you got to know your maintenance calories in order to do that, which can take some kind of fishing around to figure out.
All right, everybody, thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of Vegan Proteins Muscles by Brussels Radio. Feel free to stay in touch with us on socials at I Am Just Athena, at Muscles by Brussels, at Vegan Proteins on YouTube, Facebook, and our private group, for example, Muscles by Brussels Radio. Stay tuned, of course, for our upcoming 12-week fat loss challenge. It's going to be a good one. Once again, my name is 𝐿𝐵𝐿𝐿.
And I'm Danny.
And we'll talk to you soon.